Whoopsies. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another one of our exciting live streams. We haven't done VATSIM in a pretty good chunk of time, so I thought tonight might be a kind of a fun opportunity to go ahead and do that. We're currently sitting here at Friday Harbor. This is Kilo Foxtrot Hotel Romeo, and they have an event going on tonight. They were talking about doing props across the strait. As soon as I heard that, I'm like, let's see, what would be the least appropriate propeller airplane that I could attempt to navigate a very, very complicated airspace with? And I'm like, of course, the Junkers 52. That's the first thing that came to mind. I was thinking about doing the DC-6, but without another member of my crew, I think the DC-6 would be a bit too much. One of the things I'm a little nervous about, though, I'm not going to lie, I've never flown in Canada virtually before, so this should be an interesting experience. The other thing I'm a little worried about is this is my radio. So this radio doesn't go to all the frequencies that are in this particular region, so that should make things like a little more fun than it needs to be. So we'll go ahead and give them a try and see exactly what happens. I'm currently, by the way, I'll give everybody a couple moments if you want to get caught up to me. We are on the new SIM update number 10. My flight takeoff time is in front of the 2 minutes, so I have just a little tiny bit of time. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to call for flight following up to our destination, which is going to be Charlie Yankee Sierra Echo. And currently the information that is current, is up there at Victoria. That's information Lima for anybody who's also on VATSIM today. And apparently I'm holding up traffic already, which I always find things like that amusing. It looks like we have another Junkers joining us tonight, which is great. And Elastic Sack was a little earlier. I believe he was cruising around in a P-51. I don't remember which airplane it was. So we're going to have a pretty good escort. Should be a good night flight tonight. We're looking at about 41 minutes cruising time. We get to see the fjords of Canada, so that should be kind of fun. Also, for those of you who know Flight Simulator history, you might recognize this airport. This is Friday Harbor. For those of you who did the training missions, this is the one you had to land at to finish your little flight check ride thing, which I just thought was kind of fun. So let's go ahead and give Victoria, I believe it's not Victoria Approach, it's a little different in Canada. Let's see here. It is going to be called Victoria Terminal. Victoria Terminal, Red 64.
Station calling, say again.
Victoria Terminal, Red 64.
Red 64, Victoria Terminal, region L, go ahead.
Victoria Terminal, Red 64, good evening. We have information Lima, and we're looking for a flight following from Friday Harbor up to Charlie Yankee Sierra Echo at 4,500.
Okay, Red 64, copy, you're at Friday Harbor. See your aircraft type?
Type is Junkers 52. It is a propeller meet, isn't it? Aha, excellent.
Red 64, squawk 0774, and ident, and say your altitude again.
0774 ident, altitude will be 4,500.
Are you on the ground now?
Yes.
Okay, call me airborne.
Will do. All right, we've gotten our general clearance. It sounds like we got in really, really early, too, because we're 0774, so we're not that high up. Let's go ahead and set that up. 0774. We'll go ahead and do altitude reporting. We'll press enter, which is awesome. We'll go ahead and ident, too, so we'll go ahead and give them a call once we get airborne here. I am stealing this a little bit just because it's easier to enter the frequencies that we're going to need to enter today, which is going to make it pretty good. So, like I said, should be a fun flight. Let's go ahead and taxi out, and I'll give them a ring once we get a little going. We're going to need some pretty serious ground handling here. There we go. All right, let's do it to it. Now, the interesting thing is they have a flight going on tonight, and we chose to go with VFR as opposed to IFR flight rules. The weather couldn't be better for this. Like, it's just a little windy up near Vancouver proper. We're going to spend a little bit of time over water today, but I have 3 engines, so I'm really not nervous about it. So, like I said, this should be a pretty relaxing flight. And I got to say, I'm happy to do this, of course, with headphones on today in order to make things a little bit easier. And this is a really brumbly airplane. I absolutely love it. I probably should slow down before I end up getting airborne on the taxiway here. This is definitely not something you'd probably be seeing over Vancouver. How much you want to make a bet when I climb up? I'm going to basically say, you know, we're miles south of Friday Harbor. 7, yeah, I'll call for the ident. That's basically what that's going to be. Should be fun. Should be fun. This is taxiing way too fast for an airplane of this weight. We're actually get to be in the medium weight category tonight. I'm so impressed. Man, this thing wants to go fast. We have the update number 10 running today. So if you're wondering why things look really smooth but blurry every once in a while, that's that interesting DLSS stuff that everybody's been talking about. It's really cool. For those of you who played with it in VR, let's go ahead and pause for a second here. I should technically be self-announcing here. I don't see anybody in the pattern, so I'm not going to worry about it too much here. Come sneak out. It looks like we got in before everybody else did, so this is really exciting. Because in about 25 minutes, this is going to be quite the cluster. Especially if you're at Vancouver International right now. That's going to be a nightmare. Get us all nice and lined up with a good old tree 4 here. Looks like the windsock is a pure crosswind. Ugh! Where's my ground coup? Push me harder! All right, let's go ahead and line up. I'll give everything a little victory wiggle here, and I'll go ahead and get rolling. I just love how not, like, a rush this is. It just kind of goes. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Tail comes up, give it a little tiny tug, and we're airborne. We'll go ahead and give them a call when we're about a mile south. Oh, we don't have feet in this thing. Oh, no. We're in meters. Oh, that's got to be a problem for my flight, but oh well. I didn't think of that. Ah. Approach Red 64 is 1 mile north of Friday Harbor at 5,000, climbing 4,500.
Okay, Red 64, say again, altitude, squawk it in.
Climbing through 700 for 4,500, ident, Red 64.
Red 64, identified altitude check, thanks.
So the problem we're going to have here is I have no idea what my altitude's going to be. I have to basically do the math with a calculator real quick. So this will be more fun than it needs to be. What I'm hoping here is as we start getting a little bit of altitude that we're basically going to be able to kind of get past the nastiness that's about to become Vancouver in about 15 minutes when all the airliners show up. But like I said, this is supposed to be a propeller event. So my fingers are crossed here that we'll stick mostly to 172s. But man, this is already incredible. Oh, this is so gorgeous. I love how, like, looking right out my window there, you have one international airport ready to rock. You're going to have another international airport coming up over here on the right. And then, of course, if you want to go that way, you can go to the creators of Microsoft Flight Simulator if you're so inclined. I'm guessing that was my altitude. I should probably bring up my external instruments here, but lazy. What are you going to do? I wonder if this works. No. That would be way too handy if it actually did. Swing to my left a little bit, and we're going to go ahead and head out. One thing I love about this thing is, like, the visibility is just incredible. Speaking of incredible visibility, but I guess I'll talk about that a little later. X-Plane 12 is now out, and it's absolutely good. Thanks, Max. Yeah, you know, he's right about 3. About 3. Like I said, it's an interesting problem to have that I'm not typically used to in a flight simming situation. I did not think of that. There's just one of those things where it just... I'm like, yeah, I'll grab some interesting German plane. It'll be fine. Uh-oh. Apparently, someone named Pokey Turtle says, Mom says hi. Always makes me think of, I could see my house from here. I'll say hi to Mom, too. There we go. So basically, our destination today, if you take a look right off there, there's Vancouver proper, basically right after our, it's called 11:30 there. Right off to the left where you see those kind of snow-packed mountains, there's actually a really neat valley. Like I said, it's basically a fjord. It reminds me of Alaska kind of a thing, right on the opposite side. So what we're going to do is we're basically going to power across the water, say hello to the actual city proper, and then what we're going to do is we're going to come basically left, go around that little mountain, and then follow down to the river, because remember, we're going to be VFR. Now, if you want to talk about airspaces that are kind of hopelessly complicated, let me share something kind of interesting with you real fast. We'll go switch over to desktop mode. So we just took off from right here, and look at this. You've got the big one, you've got this one, you've got this one, you've got this one, and then you have all the individual towers here. So it's going to be kind of fun to see sort of how that does play out, or it decides not to play out, honestly, this evening. All right, I got to do some estimations here. I'm at, according to Max, I can multiply by 3 here. So I'm at 1,200 meters. I almost did 1,200 kilometers. I'm like, wow, we're up pretty high. So let's see here. Do the math. That's actually pretty close. I'd have to probably start leveling off in a minute here. This thing's great. And I did shut damage off, so unlike last time when I tore the wings off my little plane, this won't happen. So I think that's kind of exciting. That should be very, very close. 1,500 meters is my rough calculate. 1,500 meters pretty much on the nose, or maybe slightly less than 1,500 meters. That should get us pretty close. Like I said, the last thing they probably expected we'd show up in. Alright, I think that's about right. Probably off by a couple, but my quick math on my calculator says this should be almost perfect. Alright, let's see. A couple RPM here. I don't need to reduce power quite that much. That should be good. One of the mistakes I made, though, is I did not bring an automatic pilot, and nor do I have a co-pilot to fly this for me, so I actually got to earn this one. The great thing about this plane, though, is it just goes. There's not a lot of work here. And there we have it. Trimmed. Putting this, it was trimmed. My Stichs and my Sinks were almost equal to each other. Of course, when I think of depth gauges, I think of, German submarines from the Silent Hunter series, like 2 and 3. Very, 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 very fun series. We must have gotten in before because nobody's chatting yet, and I have a feeling he's going to hand me off to the tower when we get a little bit closer. I intentionally picked a path that basically takes us over the top, so that should definitely make things kind of fun for us. I was close. I'm close. Sorry, I just caught the chat there. Not bad. And thank you for the assist there. I'm, like I said, trying to fly this old-fashioned here. And the cool thing is with VFR, unless they give you a height limitation, theoretically, you could fly at just about any height. So we could fly at 3,000 right now and still be legal. It's not recommended, but it's legal. I feel like that's the name of a game show. Not recommended, but legal. Makes you think of Stock and Blockin'. Conan O'Brien, by the way. Just kind of looking out the window. Nice! Like I said, it's like 1,380 meters or something like that. I'm afraid to touch the controls. Okay, no touch. Cool! So we're in the Junkers 52. We've flown in the Junkers before, I think actually 2 other times. We were in Africa for one, and I think we were in Austria for another one. This is a really cool plane. For those of you who are big fans of flying in virtual reality, this is one of the recommended planes. I always say, you have to try it. Like, this seat is just like a leather monstrosity of a chair here. Like just look at this. It's all nice and squishy, and then you go look at the trim wheel, which like they ripped off a Zeppelin somewhere, and it has like a little clutch to go to flat mode. It's just like, it's great. It's absolutely the definition of, like kind of a classic. It's like, I don't know. I just love it. Stuff like that. And like the leather. And another thing I really get a kick out of too is like the lighting gauge. Like these are the switches for the lights outside, and it has like the ammeter and everything built in. And your little box for like the fuses. And I love how your oil monitor is this little kind of like a little stick that kind of goes up and down. Like right now we're fine on oil. But like if I want to check the gas, I have to stick my head out the window and do one of these things. Ugh. Yeah, I can't read that. Maybe it's 12 something? I don't know. But it's just, I don't know, it's just so cool. And like I said, aircraft like this are just great. And this thing trims so nice too, which is just like triple points. Now, I was kind of expecting a little bit more air traffic here. Oh well, no big deal. Probably something I'm going to eat my words on in about 5 minutes, but I'll enjoy it while I got it right now. Let's see here, we are doing 230 farts. So we're doing okay. Definitely making time here. Probably a little faster. I filed for 115. We're probably getting 120 something, 125 maybe. I can't quite do the math on knots. Like I can do miles an hour, but knots are a totally different beast when it comes to kilometers an hour. Now we're lucky this isn't in meters a second, because that would be insanity. All right, let's see who's joining us this evening. We have BWAS, welcome, Elastic Sack, and Lafarog. Welcome back, Lafarog. I picked a kind of a later time. As people know, my schedule has changed. I teach for a living, so unfortunately it's tough to do stuff during the week, and it's been tough to stay on top of things. It's been fun to kind of see how we're doing with our little VATSIM Fast series. We're probably going to tail that off and kind of do a hybrid between normal and fast. Some people really like them. Some people like, why bother, because of stuff we already do. So you'll see kind of a mix of those coming up in the next few weeks. Some stuff with the Avidyne, which is actually kind of cool. Yeah. It just has less. Gotcha, AV photos. Explain 12 has come out, which that's been interesting. One of my favorite things to do in it already is fly the helicopters. I forgot how much I missed helicopters when I first was learning to be. If you want to go back all the way through all my flying history, the reason I wanted to learn to fly was, I always had an obsession with helicopters when I was growing up, like my teen years, just loved everything helicopter. All I wanted to do for a living was basically fly helicopters. So one of the things I had done is I actually had applied to the Coast Guard Academy, and my goal there was, you can keep all your swimming stuff to yourself. That you're fine with that. What I want to do is I want to be able to go ahead and fly the helicopters, like the rescue missions, and afterwards go use Chopper 1 or something like that. That was my life's goal. So of course I didn't get accepted to the Coast Guard Academy. So, cheers. Tack. I always forget how to say hello in Swedish. I can say Jana talar svenska. I mean, that's about the best my Swedish is, but yeah. But did not get accepted to the Coast Guard Academy. So I went into teaching instead, which I think has actually in some ways been better. And then I got to fly planes. So it's been kind of nice to go back to flying helicopter. I like this. It's cool. A little C shape. It's almost like an old harbor or something like that. So we're about to cross over the busy stuff, and I'm watching VATSIM map a little bit here.
Red 64, contact Vancouver Terminal 128.6.
128.6, Red 64. Approach, Red 64, 4,500. I don't know that actually captured the correct channel. I get the feeling it didn't. I bet you I'm on 0.5. Called it. Vancouver approach, Red 64 with you, 4,500. Interesting. 128.6. Vancouver approach, Red 64. Uh-oh. Interesting.
Red 64, Vancouver Terminal, hello. The Vancouver altimeter 2983.
2983, Red 64. Yeah, the 1939 is a lot faster, and one of the fun things you can do is you can stomp on the gas with it really aggressively on like really, really short runways with no weight on board. I actually added weight to this plane in order to make it more tolerable to fly. If you fly this thing straight up, it's a little bit much. And I think I'm starting to get a little high. Just a little. Such a nice plane. Guten Abend, gute Nacht. Gonna come wandering down a little bit here. And he's probably gonna hand me off in a minute. Nice!
And Red 64, just confirm your receive only for the time being.
Red 64 should be able to receive audio and talk.
Roger. Yeah, if you're transmitting, I don't have you on voice.
All right, apparently we're having a transmitter issue. All right, let's see what we can do here. All right, let's see what happens. Settings, push to talk. That's all set. That's all set. We got that. We got that. Audio, we'll make sure this is set correctly. We'll test that. Test that. Mic volume is set to 0. Can we test that? Can I press apply? Hello, hello? Nope. Let's test that. That's not going to work. Hello, hello?
Hello.
Got it, thank you. All right, we fixed it. Nice. All right, back to work. Of course, I probably lost a good 300 feet when I did that. Start making my way back up. There's a really, really good airplane disaster event, which occurred because somebody's radio did not work, which I'm sure there's been many throughout history. But the short of it is basically he was having trouble transmitting on COM 1. So what he did is he had switched to COM 2 and used his other radio for the purposes of making the transmissions. And when they handed him off to a new frequency, he didn't put 2 and 2 together, the fact that he was on the other radio. So what he did is he continued transmitting on this normal radio, thinking he's talking, but nobody was talking back to that pilot. So what had occurred is, he's doing the whole execution, and he runs himself into a situation where you're in an IFR place, and you need basically to fly an approach in order to safely land the plane. But because he never realized that he had no communications, he was never able to work things out with all the people around him, and he couldn't fly back from which he came where the weather was better conditions. The long and the short is, unfortunately, during night, during IFR conditions, he ended up basically running into some trees. So it was just one of those situations where that one little switch in the cockpit and that one little disconnect from what you do every single day can make that much of a difference in your flying. It's just, I don't know. That was just one of those things where I'm always terrified of that now with radios. I think I'm close. I think I'm a little low. I think. Close. All right, let's go keep sneaking this way. Lafarog, you're doing a wonderful job keeping up with me there. Now, one of those things that always terrifies me flying in the real world versus flying in the sim is when you hear nothing from air traffic control for long periods of time. Like, it could be 15, 20 minutes before you hear a single thing on the radio and you start to panic a little bit. One of the things that we do is it's by sector. So when he calls you on the radio, he might be talking to you in your sector, but then he calls somebody else in a different sector on a different frequency, even though it's the same guy. So you get this weird situation where you're basically flying by yourself going, I really, really hope that, I'm on the right channel and I didn't lose it. So one of the things we do is radio checks every once in a while, just to check to make sure that, we haven't lost communications. But it works really, really, really well. All right, here's a planning failure on my part here. I'm looking at that mountain, and that mountain looks like it's just about as high as us. So we can probably go between this, which is going to be sketchy, or we can kind of deviate just a teeny tiny bit to get around it. We could also try to sneak through this little pass here, but I kind of got a bad feeling about that, so I'm going to kind of keep doing my thing here. Oh, I was really hoping this airport would be packed. The problem is we did this at 7 and the event started at 7. So if we want to have some fun, we could declare an emergency and go scoot down. They would get pretty mad about that. I mean, this is a decent time to practice an emergency because there's not a lot of traffic. But at the same token is we probably don't need to stress those good folks out too much down there. They just don't need that today. All right, cruising. Oh man, you are just too good at that, Lafarog. I don't see your title, but I know who that is. This thing is so cool. So one plane that I'm really hoping that Microsoft puts out relatively shortly, and I'm sure somebody's already working on it, is an AN-2, the Anushka, which is basically it's a Soviet-built biplane with a gigantic engine hanging off the front, and it has a very similar configuration for this nose. And it's so cool. We had one in X-Plane. I don't think we can blow one of them up in Falcon. But like I said, it's so cool. And it would just be neat if we had one of those too, because they're actually pretty decently quick for their size and weirdness. But their engine is a little bit of a pain in the butt to maintain. You're constantly fiddling with, like the radiators and stuff like that. Pretty typical. And that's Vancouver International. All right, let's play the game. 1, 2, 3, Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't see any others, and I don't see anybody coming in. Let's go take a peek on the world map here and see if we're the only ones. I think we're going to get away with this clean without bothering anybody. Yeah, I think we're going to get away with it. There should be 3 planes down at that airport. Neat. Like I said, I think we got away with it. I was trying to see if Boston wasn't too busy today, but I figured Canada was a little different. Okay, how tall are these mountains, and what are they going to do if I try to smack into them? Probably blow me up. Alright, I'm actually going to hang to my left a little bit. I'm going to get between this little kind of valley right there. I know it's probably... I think my flight plane takes me right over this mountain, but it's going to be a lot safer to go through here. Of course, in the real world, I take the long way or go higher. You would not want to fly through a valley like that. Any real wind could do a lot of real damage to you. Check out the city, though. I just love the density of Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's just, it's so impressive just how like every single little house is here. You know, you swing it, it's just like, the frame rate I can get by going like this without my screen basically melting on me is incredible. And just the density, it's so neat. And then you got this. Check this out. It'll get a little prettier once we get a little closer to it, but I'm so tickled by the visual details. You know, the different places where they do loading by the ships. You've got these huge container ships, you know, the little bridge and everything that they've got right through here. I've never actually been up to Vancouver. The farthest I've been in this part of the country is actually up to Washington State, as well as like Oregon and stuff like that, which are neat. Slightly different culture on that side of the country than it is on this side of the country, which I always find, you know, it's just like any country, really. It's just one of those, different, kind of one of those sort of things. So cool. Fly right over it, proper right here. Well, in a minute, they're going to be a little less boxy, I'm sure. I really want to descend and, like, look around, but I know that they're going to look at me funny if I do that. This is so cool. I could just imagine how much they're going to love that. Uh-oh, somebody's live streaming. Going, like, you know, between the streets, you know, waiting at stoplights and stuff like that. They're going to love that. And I believe the wind was mostly interface today. Just swing to the left a little bit. Cool. Awesome. Ah, that's a bummer. I'm just checking the chat now. It's cool. I think this plane is wild. My thing I always think of with this plane, other than, you know, World War II flight sims, is I always think of the book, actually not the book, the adventure for Call of Cthulhu, the RPG, called this, let's see, Escape from the Mountains of Madness. There we go. I knew I'd remember. But the Germans show up. It's the Germans, and they show up in 3 of these, and it's just awesome. It's one of those things where each party has their own plane with their unique thing that works better than the other party's planes, and it becomes kind of okay, so if we take this plane over the mountains, then we're going to run into this, and it's just cool, and it's just different. I really enjoyed that story as well. Lafarog's killing it. We got BWAS and a PC-12. Okay, that's not one of ours. I think that's somebody else kind of hanging back. Interesting thing here too is anybody who's on VATS, who's in the older world update might not have, I'm sorry, the sim update might not be able to see any of us. So my guess is he's probably going to hand us off. Actually, we're going to be pretty much in his airspace until this is done. We're going to have to kind of come right through here. Problem is I'm trying to estimate the wind right now. That looks like a ski slope, by the way. I don't know enough about this part of Canada to guess what ski slope it is. Oh, that is such a bummer, Lafarog. Ah, that is such a bummer. I love aircraft of this era. They're still trying to figure out what the whole flying thing is about. So they just kind of Gary's modded the planes together, and I love that. It's just, I don't know, there's something special about the way they're engineered. The fact that you knew these engines would never last very long. Something bad would happen every once in a while. Like the way they do this old, you know, riveted on, kind of curved, the corrugated skin. It's so cool. And how a lot of that, you know, the technology, you know, they used it for a while and it just evolved and got a little bit better. Let's see here. It's a pity you can't see that anymore. It would be so cool to see that. Yeah. In the United States, they have pretty cool air shows north of us at a very large military air base. And it's super cool when they bring in like the A-10s and the F-16s, and they make so much noise that we're like 20 miles away and you can still hear it. But having gone to one of those, you can actually fly into them. And it's actually easier to fly into than it is to drive to, because then you don't have traffic. You just land on basically a 2.5 mile runway. But every once in a while, they bring in all the vintage airplanes, and they have like 1950s, like F-86s and things like that, and P-80s. Or actually, they're probably the Air Force version. What's the training version? T-33s, there we go. But they fly all those through, and it's incredible. Oh, I love this right here. Good old switchback. We do not have roads like this where I live. It's just, we don't need them. Yep, that's definitely a ski slope. Anybody up for hitting some soft powder here? I do not snowboard, by the way. Snowboarders spend more time sitting on the mountain than they tend to do actually, going down it nicely. I use ski boards. They're more fun. Little tiny skis, like ski skates. That's cool. I'm very tempted to crank the weather to nasty and see if it's actually snowy. But I'll be nice. I'll be nice.
64, you're leaving the Charlie now, so surveillance service terminated. You're cleared en route. And before I go, I gotta say, big fan of your command videos.
Am I really that obvious? I appreciate your assistance tonight, and I appreciate all that. Have a good night.
Hey, you too.
Did that really just happen? Oh man, did that really happen? I got recognized. Oh god. Well, you learn something every night. Oh, that's great. All right, we'll go flip over to VFR here. He told us to. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Okay, that puts a smile on my face. All right. That was funny. That was funny. Oh man, that is great. All right. I'm impressed. I'm impressed. So they always joke about it being a small world, but that's pretty small. Not a lot of people know much about command, which is a shame because it's amazing. And I don't just say that because I do a lot of the professional side of videos for it. I just say it because it's really cool. But again, everybody enjoys what they enjoy, and this is super fun. Now, if we could link Microsoft Flight Simulator up to command, that would be even better. So someday. Oh man, I love the Pacific Northwest because of the pine trees. You come hiking through this stuff, and it's just whack in the face with pine. It's just, it's incredible for those of you who have not been up here. So quickly, experiences I've had, because we're getting pretty close to Squamish, which is going to be up here on our right. The wind's coming out of the north, so basically we're going to fly straight in, which is, I know, a Cirrus 22 approach, but too bad. The wild thing about the Pacific Northwest is there's a type of medicine, and I always got a kick out of this, that people take to decongest, called Sudafed. I don't know what it is in respective countries, but in Oregon, you need basically a prescription to get it, because it can unfortunately be used to produce certain types of drugs you're not supposed to have. You need a lot of it to do that. Where I live, the drug is, you can just go to the store and get it. You give them your license so they keep track of how many things you bought or whatever. But it was one of those things where we're both suffering with the worst allergies in the world because of, green, is not being able to obtain that. So you have to get kind of the generic decongestant, and it was oh my gosh, I don't think I can live over here. Just kind of one of those kind of funny things. This is so nice. If I lost an engine right now, I wouldn't be that annoyed. I have 2 more. If I lost all 3 engines, I think we go swimming. I don't think I can safely get this thing on the ground at our destination in that sense. Of course, we're almost there, but that's basically straight and around the right. Cheers from Norway. Awesome. My wife and I at one point used Duolingo to try to learn Swedish, and didn't get very far. I mean, I can yes, no, I don't speak Swedish, stuff like that, but that's about as far as I got. Well, one of the toughest things for me with Swedish as a language was trying to figure out how to pronounce things. You want to pronounce them kind of as you see them, but the letters come together in ways that an English speaker just doesn't understand. That's kind of one of those. Oh, greetings from Norway. That I understood. That I got. All right, let's get ready to go ahead and pop this thing on the ground here. So our flight today is, our terminus is at Squamish, which is this teeny tiny little airport. It's about 2,300 feet, which we need about 1,000 of it, so it shouldn't be too bad. The one downside with this plane is trying to get it to slow down, so this could be a very, very interesting landing for me. It looks like I only burnt a little bit of oil today. Comes out swinging down here. So basically, it's going to be right around this bend on this side. It kind of has a kind of big log right here. One of the things in our area that I actually got to fly over during the summers, we have this area called Lake George. And it's very much like this, but the mountains stop here. They don't come up all the way from here. Awesome. Hey, I mean, like, kind of like the fjords of Norway. Kind of. This plane is great. I have not had to touch the trim in 10 minutes, and I'm just using my feet to steer this whole time. Like, my hands are on the mouse right now, so I can look around. That's just awesome. That German engineering at its finest. One thing we should check. Oh, wait, we can't check fuel from inside. We have to do one of these. I think it's interesting. The DLSS is causing my wing to ripple. Probably not a good thing. Yeah, I have no idea where that needle's pointing. I found a command fan in the middle of... I'm so impressed. First mom says hi, and then we got a fan. Love it. Absolutely love it. All right, let's see how everybody back there is doing. Lafarog, you're killing me, man. You're killing me. You're way too efficient. I actually got to start descending here, because if I keep up at this altitude... Oh, I got to get over this first. But if I chill at this altitude, I'll never be able to lose enough energy to safely get us down to the ground. Or at least get me down to the ground. I don't know about you guys. All right. Pretty cool. This is such a beautiful region, though. I do imagine that it gets a little cold in the winter, though. Call that a hunch. But I guarantee it's like below zero, both on C and F scales, kind of cold during the winter. Kind of surprised we have nobody from Canada, but definitely like the Sweden and Germany. You're staying up pretty late, folks from Europe. Oy. I've been going to bed recently at about 10 o'clock because of how early I have to be out to be in my classroom. So it's this is pretty late for me. Pretty late for me. We actually had to work today, which was kind of fun. Do some adult education stuff. It's kind of fun. Yep, I'm way too high to be able to land. Uh-oh. Okay. I've never been here before, so we'll kind of figure it out as we go. One of my favorite flights we ever did was in the Andes Mountains, where you had that, like, this kind of valley, and, like, you had this little runway, and I was in a DC-6, and basically there's no way in the universe I was going to be able to lose enough altitude to safely land the plane. All right, we have begun our descent. My students this year are making fun of my explaining voice. I mentioned that in a recent post, but it's just one of those, I'm like, I don't use the explaining voice at school. That's only for videos. So every time I start sounding a little too technical, they go, explaining voice. Sneaky students. All right, there we go. Everybody ready for this? Because I'm not. So in the real plane, now that I'm, what do they call, high performance rated, one of the things you have to now watch out for is shock cooling engines. Something I never had to worry about in a Cessna 172. In the big plane, it's like, don't go less than 2,500 RPM until you're on the ground. That's kind of hard. It's sort of one of those things. It's a flight sim. I'm not going to worry about it too much. Speaking of flight sim news, for those of you who are interested, we're going to be getting that extremely cool update that's going to be giving us a DC-3 pretty soon, as well as the new Airbus. That's going to be really, really, really cool when that comes out. I like how that's clearly a rail terminus right there. Hello from Vancouver. Hello, Daniel. Never been to Vancouver. The closest I ever got was Seattle. Okay, looking at my chart here, we got to follow the river, and then it should be towards the end on the left. So we have this mountain here. I'm just like playing the chart game. This is how you can tell I'm playing the chart game. Whoa, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, there we go. And we'll just come swinging around here. Let's see here. Like I said, I don't want to go zipping. I almost thought that was the runway for a second. That's a rail yard. Almost did it. I thought about it. I really, really thought about it. And all of a sudden, I'm realizing that the airport that we're interested in is probably on the other side of that set of mountains right there. And I'm getting kind of the funny feeling that it's going to be one of those that you have to come in from the other direction in order to... Oh, there it is. Got it. I knew I'd find it. My chart reading skills are a little rusty, but they're not that bad. Oh, wonderful mini-cat. And we'll just come swinging right around. All right, long, long final. I guess I should call it in, shouldn't I? Squamish traffic, red 64 is 3 miles to the south, straight in runway tree Squamish. Yes, this is default scenery, Eric. I'm not doing anything fancy. Again, no stupid questions. Somebody was actually left me a very angry comment the other day, demanding that I use fancy scenery. It's like, I think the game itself does a pretty nice job. This is definitely a serious approach. I don't want to do a left traffic in this plane there. If I do a left traffic, I'm going to run out of room. Like, there's a mountain right there I do not want to get that close to if I can help it. This is the only plane I think I've ever flown that when you put the flaps down, you get less drag, I swear. Yep, way too high. I have too many farts. Fouts. Never pronounced that properly. I'm getting a lot of synced, and I'm getting still quite about 150 farts there. Out. Now, my understanding is there is I believe it's a town in Austria that the name of the town is a dirty word, and certain nationalities like to steal the signs. But I believe they may have changed that since then, because they probably got sick of it. Looks like such a nice area. I think this is one of the few times I actually can pronounce something properly, too. Squamish traffic, red 64, short final, runway tree Squamish. Yeah, we're going to have to slip just a little bit here. This thing literally does not slow down. That's a go-around if I've ever seen one. They did. All right, Swaggy checked it out for me. He knows the one I'm referring to. That is an incredibly small world. I'm not going to say the name of the town. If you want to look it up, just look up dirty words in Austria and you'll find exactly what you're looking for. Whoop, that's a crosswind. All right, so when you land this one, make sure you put your left wing down. Ready? Two wheels, left wing first. Nice. Hold that left wing. We're going to transfer into the right wing, and we're just going to go ahead and do the good old-fashioned two-wheeler here. That's excellent. I don't know if that's better, Lafarug. That's actually pretty funny, too. Oh, we're here. Oh, man, that was sweet. If you'd like to join us for the photo this evening, I'll be right over here in this little parking area. And yeah, I'm never going to be able to turn this thing around, but I'll try. Oh, man, that's almost just as funny. Come on. The strategy works spectacular in the real world, by the way. Nice. This is such a cool area. I love this. It's look at this. This is so pretty. Real time, real weather, by the way. No, I'm not pushing that button. All right, let's go sneak over here real quick. Hey, I'm landing here. I love that. Okay, let's go ahead and park and get her photo. I'll come spin myself around here. It's such a... Well, actually, I guess I want to stay this way because it's just so pretty in that direction. All right, I always like to get to the end and always ask, if anybody has any questions, comments, concerns, things you'd like to see as future videos. It's a great time to go ahead and do so. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and get that sweet picture. That's so nice. It's so pretty. Look at that. Actually, I want to actually move the sun just a tiny bit. This is a standard piloting technique here. Actually, I liked it with the haze a little bit. I went just a little, all right there. Oh yeah, there's the shot. Oh, somebody disappeared already. Bummer. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'll do what I always like to do, is kind of find something nice and wet to crash into. I don't want to let Flight Sim ever, earn my Flight Sim hours here. I like how Flight Sim, or Microsoft is like, oh, you have like 800 hours in Flight Sim. Cool. I have about like 250 actual flight hours because I always crash. Go ahead and spin around. And, ooh, I broke it. I broke it good. There we go. Grab that picture again real quick. Awesome. All right, let's go do some damage. Sorry, Mr. Airplane. You served me extremely well. The Canadian Air Service and VATSIM served me extremely well. And I'm just going to go ahead and find a nice gentle lake here. Whee! Oh, wait, I'm still in that VATSIM. Get out of VATSIM first. Now, let's cancel out of that before I accidentally. Oh, no. Well, I just confused the heck out of the VATSIM servers. Oh, well. All right, looks pretty good right there. Go ahead and stick it into the lake. I will thank, as always, thank you for joining me this evening. I hope you folks had a really, really good time. This was a very relaxing flight. I'm glad that it didn't get crazy busy on the other end of things. Whew. I was afraid I was actually going to have to like earn it, but I only had to talk to 3 people, and my microphone broke halfway. But other than that, keep on flying, and as always, enjoy. Kersploosh. Aww.